Good luck, ladies. Kuwait exclusively appoints men to its women's committee. Ah, that's awesome. That's fine with me. That's more representation than men get in the West. I don't know of any Western country that has a men's committee, so you ladies should be happy. You should be happy that there's some committee that is at some level taking women's issues into account, because this is already more representation than men have in Western countries for men's issues. So what are you fucking complaining about, ladies? Oh, wait till you hear the righteously indignant tone of this fucking article. By the way, before I get into this article, I'd like to ask those of you out there who like and appreciate the raw, red pill, in your motherfucking face nature of my content to please consider going and checking out my website, therealistphilosopher.com. That is therealistphilosopher.com. You'll find a lot of interesting links to all my social media platforms, as well as my BitChute channel, which is where all my content eventually ends up, bitchute.com/therealistphilosopher. So if you like my content, you should follow me there. And if you really appreciate what I do, you might want to consider making a donation. All right, you click on the donate button in the top right-hand corner of my website, therealistphilosopher.com. 3 ways you can donate. Number 1, Bitcoin to my Bitcoin wallet address. Number 2, Cash App, which is an anonymous and free way to send and receive funds. And number 3, if you want to put yourself on a more subscription-based donation-type platform, is my Patreon. I make about 8 pieces a month. So you donate $1, that's $8 a month, 50 cents, $4 a month. You can donate any amount you want. Your choice. Any amount is greatly appreciated. And you don't get nothing for your money. There's a lot of nice little extra perks you get by supporting my work. So go check that out, therealistphilosopher.com. That is therealistphilosopher.com. And click on that donate button if you would, please. So these Arab men have decided to represent the interest of women. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. Unlike women, men understand women very well. We're logical, we're reasonable, we're critical. All things women are not. Unless you want to talk about critical theory, which is a tool of Marxism. They're very good at that. But they're not good at actual critical thinking. Men are. So I got no problem with this. I'm perfectly fine with this. You let women into power, they destroy nations. No offense, ladies, but you know it's true, okay? Look what's happening to the West. So the committee has been widely criticized online, forcing Kuwait's precarious position on gender equality back into the spotlight. Yeah. Got to push this equality bullshit everywhere because women are good, useful, idiot sheeple. These damn high testosterone, low IQ Middle Eastern men are so hard to corral, yo, but they're women. If we can give them power, ooh, then we can get control of the Middle East too. Yeah. Great. Great. Yeah. Isn't it something like 70% of Pakistanis are married to their first cousin? Yeah, that doesn't have a negative effect on IQ. Oh, no. Anyway, yeah, not only are the products of those incestuous relationships, 70%, by the way, lower in IQ than their predecessors, but they're also much more aggressive. Can't have that. We want less aggression, not more. More aggressive people are more difficult to control. If we can only get their women into power. Yeah. Not going to happen anytime soon, guys. As if feminists actually care about the Middle East. They really don't. You know, if they did, they'd be out in the streets marching. Oh, but they're our friends. They're helping us overthrow the real bad guy, white men. Okay. The newly appointed all-male Parliamentary Women's Committee of Kuwait has been met with ridicule and disbelief online since its formation on Wednesday. By the way, you're not going to hear about this in the mainstream media. This is, what is this called? What is this? Middle East Eye. Yeah, this isn't going to be showing up on Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, okay? The official Kuwaiti electronic newspaper, which is licensed by the country's Ministry of Information, tweeted the news of the new members. You see, this is good. You have representation, ladies. I mean, okay. It's not female representation, but so what? Gender is just a construct anyway, right? So it shouldn't matter if it's men or women on this committee because there are no intrinsic foundational aspects of being a female that are rooted in biology, right? We're all just a blank slate. So men, by that argument, by the left's own logic, men can represent you just as well as a woman could because there's no such thing as men or women anyway, right? There, I just totally obliterated the left's problem arguments against this. Oh, but of course you know. They don't adhere to their own ideology when it comes to something that is against their interest, right? Yeah. All right, so, yeah. So the committee is made up of Salah Thiyab al-Mutari, Osama Ahmed al-Munawir, and Osama Essa al-Shaheen. I'm sure they're all horrible, evil misogynists. Some social media users reacted to the news with despondency, and then we got a lot of tweets here. Somebody named Mary A.M. on Twitter says, I've been trying to think of some decent way to respond, but I can't. Anyways, this is what the people there voted for. You reap what you sow. Well, yeah, there you go. There you go. Somebody named Shathir, a dude on Twitter, says, no one can help women except women themselves. Not true. Men help women a lot. They pay 85% of the taxes, and women use 85% of the welfare. So, no, men help women way too much, actually, especially in the West. And my country wouldn't and would never acknowledge that in a million years. Well, you're a Western dude, okay? You'll put a woman on a pedestal and worship her, you pussy. Forever doomed to be victims in a male-dominated society. All hail Kuwait, baby. This is what America needs to be. We need to get rid of all these women in these self-serving positions and put men in their place. We know what women need. I mean, apparently women know what men need. They're talking all the fucking time about men and how bad they are and evil they are and what they need is to get rid of their toxic masculinity. I say it should go both ways. If women know what men need, men know what women need, right? Wrong! Wrong! It only goes one way for us feminists. Of course it does. Of course it does, yeah. Members, so somebody named Abdullah says, members of the Parliamentary Women's Committee in Kuwait. Good luck, ladies. No, I'm sure these guys have women's best interests at heart. Women should stay home, make babies, and cook. They'll be happier. I mean, I don't agree with the whole child marriage thing. Well, isn't this very interesting, by the way? The Middle East marries off 8- and 9-year-olds to get ass raped by 60-year-old dudes, and then they later die from some kind of anal rupture, and they bled to death during the night after he fucked her in the ass without any lube. The shit will be the lube! Oh, man, you don't hear anybody complaining about that! Oh, no, that's perfectly okay, but we have a problem with women not having equal representation in government. It's so interesting, the things that the left has a problem with and the things they don't. Oh, man, it's so interesting indeed. Kuwait has a semi-democratic political system made up of 2 branches. Semi-democratic. Yeah, there you go. That's not necessarily a bad thing, by the way. You don't want the mob ruling things, that's for fucking sure. Semi-democratic political system made up of 2 branches, the elected parliament and the appointed government. Appointed government, I see. A lot of bureaucrats, okay. Unelected bureaucrats. The parliament, which in Kuwait is called the National Assembly, is elected by the people and is made up of 50 members who hold their position for a 4-year term. This year, of the 29 female candidates who ran for the general election, which took place on December 5th, none were elected. By the way, do women have to vote in Kuwait? I'll have to do a little research on that. If they do, well, who are you going to blame? I guess the women want a patriarchy, and they do. They do, all right? Feminism has taught Western women they don't, but they do better than a patriarchy, all right? Trust me. Yeah, women in the Middle East, they get it, they get it. If they don't, the men will let them know. And then they'll get it, for sure. Giving Kuwait an all-male parliament. What's wrong with that? You evil misogynistic male, you realist philosopher, how dare you think it's a good thing to have an all-male government? Yeah, God forbid. Yeah, because when America had an all-male government, government was like 1% of GDP, and it was the most prosperous it's ever been. Then we got an all-female government, and, miraculously, overnight, we had tons of debt, a huge government, and, the global elite stole 19,000 tons of our gold. We now have useless, worthless paper money and mega inflation. Yeah, all-male government's so bad, so evil. Yeah. It was not until 2005 that women gained suffrage in Kuwait. So they do have the vote, and they still voted for all men. Well, there you go. What are you complaining about? You want equal representation, right? You want women to have a voice. Well, there you go. That the women had a voice, and they voted for 0 women. Having fought for this right for decades, including initiating nonviolent action that saw 500 women stop working for 1 hour in 1996. That's the entire country's female working population at that time. All 500 women in our country quit working who were working. How many are working now? 1,000? A blip on the radar. Not even a blip. You want to know what would happen in the West if all women stopped working for 1 day? Nothing. You want to know what would happen in the West if all men stopped working for 1 day? It would all collapse. Kuwait ranks 122 of 153 globally in terms of gender equality. Not bad. 153 is the bottom, right? They're not at the bottom. Women have to vote. Isn't that what you women want? I'm not sure it's a good thing they got to vote. Ay, ay, ay. So, in 2000, so they've had to vote for 15 years. Yeah. They're not far enough along the path yet of suffrage to see the country completely collapse. Where were we in like 1935, 1936? Oh, we were in the Great Depression. Oh. Caused, for the most part, by the Federal Reserve Bank. Yeah, and the banks in general. Oh, they're speculating. Oh, lovely. Lovely. What was women's solution to that? Yeah. Let's give banks insurance so they can be even more irresponsible with the people's money. If they lose it, we'll just reimburse the person who is the account holder and then give the banks massive bailouts. Oh, great job, ladies. That's the biggest decision. The worst decision Kuwait ever made was to give these women the vote. They rank 122. That's not bad. I thought it'd be lower. In terms of gender equality, according to the World Economic Forum's 2020 Global Gender Gap Report. In comparison to Middle Eastern and North African countries, however, Kuwait ranks 3rd for gender equality after Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Israel? Wait, that's bullshit. Israel's way, way up there in gender equality. Are you kidding? The whole fucking country is full of beta cuck, simp, blue-pilled mangina wussies. Are you kidding me? Not only all of their men, but all of their women must serve in the military. I think it's for like 2 years or something. Give me a break. Israel's up there among the world's most egalitarian countries. I don't trust this ranking, this global ranking. Don't trust it. Let's check out these guys who were appointed to the Women's. It's great. Women's Affairs Committee. Let's see what they look like. Yeah, let's see what these evil, horrible, because women-hating men, because they have to be women haters, because they're, Middle Eastern dudes, and they are presuming to tell women what's best for them. So there they are. Don't they look evil and horrible? They have big, thick beards. Well, one of them. One of them's got the Jack Dorsey beard. The other two are well trimmed. Is that allowed, by the way? I thought that Muslims weren't allowed to cut the hair of their beard at all. It was some kind of religious dictate. Well, it's got the little curl thing around the head. Yeah, good. Well dressed. Desert living. Arabs, going by their outfits. Well, there you go. They look like fine, upstanding men. What's your problem, ladies? In the West, I find the hypocrisy great. Men have 0 representation in the West, but you ladies don't have a problem with that. Meanwhile, women get representation in the Middle East, and you have a problem with it. Awesome. Lovely. By the way, men actually do have representation in the West. It's called women, and they decide you can't have male representation, so they decide what's best for you. And what's best for men, apparently, is to have 1/10 the public health care dollars available. 0 funding for men who have been the victims of domestic violence. No male shelters for victims of domestic violence. How much public aid is there out there for single fathers who want to get custody of their child from their doped up, alcoholic, drug addict ex? 0. So my bad. Men do have representation in the West, and it's women. So what are they complaining about? I love it. Oh, by the way, I guarantee you that women are going to get better representation from these three dudes in Kuwait than men do in the West, with women representing men. Are you kidding? Of course. We all know that men are, especially white men, are the most hated ethnic class, sex on the planet Earth. So they don't deserve representation. But women do, right? Especially if they're brown and in their own countries where they're not a minority. So the oppression label can't apply. Yes, it does, because they're women. And feminism says that, oh, women are oppressed by men. Oh. They look like good guys. I'm sure they'll make great decisions that represent the interests of women. And you can't complain, because the women there had the vote and they voted for these dudes. Because they're men forced them to. Well, they shouldn't have picked those men then. Anyway, let me know what you think. Is this a horrible travesty of justice? A women's committee entirely peopled by men, voted in by women? My body, my choice. My body, my vote. No. Let me know in the comment section. And please like and subscribe to my BitChute channel if you have not already. And if you really like and appreciate the raw, red pill in your face content that I produce, then please consider going and checking out my website, therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That is therealistphilosopher.com/donate, and consider making a donation. Could really use your help.